The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selina Mackenzie.
And our first guest today has written a step-by-step guide to overcoming low self-esteem, to discover your self-worth and step into your power. To tell us more about her book, which is called Believe You're Made for More, welcome to the show, Natasha Page.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So you're a psychotherapist. Can this help for both work and personal relationships?
Yes, 100%. This book was written to help people make those connections between how low self-esteem could be impacting on every facet of their life, from their relationships to the careers that they may be in, and to have every aspect of their life.
And what made you write the book, Natasha? Did you find that your clients were needing this?
Yeah, so this was really a very personal journey, but also rooted in my professional work as well. So I myself, I would say from my teen years, really struggled with my sense of identity. I was bullied, and I'm also of mixed heritage as well, which can bring up quite conflicting feelings of where you fit in the world. And this led to me getting married at quite a young age, 21. And basically, I just, as an adult then started to realise how a lot of my experiences were rooted in low self-esteem. And then as a therapist, I could see this time and time again in my clients, how self-esteem was having an impact on their happiness, their well-being, and, what they thought was possible in their lives for them.
Do you think that's why you became a therapist?
Yes, it's definitely a very big part. It's definitely a very big part of why I became a therapist. So in my early 20s, I actually went through a period of depression, and it was through my experience of attending therapy that was absolutely life-changing in the best way possible. So it's through that experience that I then decided I'd really love to help other people in this way. Writing this book, it's very special because it's a way of helping more people without me actually having to work with them on a one-to-one basis as well. So it's like therapy in a book.
Yeah, sounds perfect. And it is true, isn't it? I've said this before, but things that happen to us in childhood and the way we feel or are made to feel does more often than not continue into adulthood.
Yes, definitely. And that's what the book explores. It helps people, it takes them on a journey to amplify their awareness of how low self-esteem may be impacting on them, and where that may be rooted. Often in childhood can be the start of that, and of course through the many experiences that we go through in our lives. So it's helping people to raise their awareness, but then start to learn strategies to reject these old stories that they may be telling themselves, those stories that can keep people really stuck and can lead to, people being very unhappy. And I believe that everyone can overcome low self-esteem. They just need the tools and strategies to help them do that.
So what's the first stage then, Natasha? How do people find out where it's rooted from?
So in the book, I give lots of exercises to help people to unravel this and to explore that a little bit further. So in therapy, I would do things like getting them to do a timeline. This is where you write down significant events and things that may have happened to you along your journey. And it's helping you to make those connections between how those experiences then have impacted on how you feel about yourself, the relationship that you have with yourself. So the book has got loads of practical exercises, journal prompts, and also real experiences from some of the clients that I've worked with over the years as well. So a lot of people say this book is quite comforting as well, because I share my own personal experiences as well as those as clients. And hearing that other people go through this can be quite comforting to know that you're not alone on that journey.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I suppose, like you say, it's how people view themselves, isn't it? They view themselves one way, and that's probably not how the rest of the world views them.
Yes, yeah, often I've worked with so many brilliant, capable people over the years, but they really do have these core beliefs that perhaps they're not good enough, whether that is rooted in things like childhood or relationships that they've been in that haven't made them feel good. And it really can be so damaging, and it can impact on people's mental health in really detrimental ways. So I feel really passionate about this subject and helping people to overcome these barriers that can be affecting, like I said, every aspect of their life.
So can you give us an example then of how someone can break this cycle? Can you give us some techniques that might be in the book?
Yes. So there's, like I said, lots of exercises. So there's not like just one exercise that will solve the answer. But one of the things in the book that we look at is becoming your authentic self. And by that, I mean really starting to understand yourself at a deeper level, understanding what your values are, what your temperament is. There's an exercise called Vitals, and that's where we get to explore exactly, these areas of who you are, what your strengths are, and getting people to just tap into that more and be okay with that, recognizing that you're a unique individual and that there's no right or wrong here. It's about owning who you are and becoming confident in yourself. So that's one of the exercises. There are lots in here, so I can't share all of them. But some other things that are included with the book are some lovely meditations and affirmations as well, because they can help us to break those deep-rooted subconscious things that we may not be aware of as well. So it's really working at a deeper level as well, working with the subconscious mind and helping us to break those patterns that we may have held on to for many years.
And do you think a lot of people, I know, I mean, I can be accused of it as well, but people pleasers, people who people please, do you think that's very much a lack of confidence, or is it just wanting to be typically British and nice?
There's definitely nothing wrong with being nice, and I would encourage everyone to be nice to one another. However, yes, this does become problematic when it tips into, like you say, people pleasing. And by that, we mean when you're doing things that aren't really aligned with what you want to do. You're doing it simply because you feel you have to, or because you feel obliged to, and actually it's going against sort of your own values or how you feel about something. And that's very different, isn't it, to doing something because you genuinely want to help someone or genuinely, want to be nice. It's, it becomes problematic when you are sacrificing yourself, or, you're not putting your needs first because you're prioritising everybody else. And that's when it can start to tip into becoming more, becoming unhealthy. And it can really affect someone's self-esteem if, this may come up for, mothers, who are putting their children first and ignoring all of their own needs. They're not giving themselves time to exercise or to nourish themselves with good food. That's just one example that's popped into my head. But of course, this can pop up in so many different examples across the board.
Yeah, it's all about self-love, isn't it? I know it's a bit of a cliche and a buzzword that we keep hearing, but it's true. You've got to love yourself before you can expect anyone else to love you.
Definitely. That's really a really good point there, because it is about loving yourself, and it can sound big-headed, can't it? Oh, love yourself. But we don't mean this in a big-headed way. We mean it in a healthy way, in a way that, when you love yourself, you make better decisions for yourself. You believe in your capabilities and strengths. And when we don't love ourselves, we can sense, can't we, a person who has low self-esteem, and you can tell. You can sense someone that walks in the room that has got better self-esteem. You can feel it. There's an energy around it, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I really encourage anyone who may struggle with how they view themselves, and this can show up in all different, very subtle ways. From things like procrastinating, not doing things that you're capable of doing, from stopping yourself having new experiences that you'd like to have because of fear of failure. It can mean self-deprecation, always putting yourself down. And it can show up in these ways that we might not always realise are actually rooted in low self-esteem.
Yeah, I suppose the problem is with people with low self-esteem, it's not necessarily about loving yourself. They don't even like themselves very much, do they? Which is so sad.
Yes, yeah. I definitely have witnessed that over the years, clients that come to me who, may hold many painful experiences in their life that have made them feel this way. But of course, we all have innate worth as human beings. And that is part of the work that I do with my clients in therapy, is helping them to tap into that. And of course, as the title of my book says, believe you're made for more. And this is, working with people who may not feel worthy of having a happy and abundant life. And it's really helping them to break some of these negative core beliefs that they hold about themselves.
Yeah. And we have discussed that most of this tends to happen in childhood, something your teachers, your friends, your parents may have said to you that can cause low self-esteem. But can it come later in life? Can you be absolutely fine and then suddenly a life event happens and that can cause a negative effect on self-esteem?
Oh, yes, definitely. So, often it can be rooted in childhood, but not just rooted in childhood. Of course, all experiences that one may go through in life can have an impact on our self-esteem. For example, as women, when women become mums or fathers become fathers, that can have an impact on one's self-esteem. It may be the aging process, changing appearance and how people deal with that. So it may come from relationships when you've been through a divorce or a separation. So, of course, there's all of these different experiences that can have an impact on our self-esteem. And it's changeable as well. It can change over time. So that's another helpful thing that I help people to look at in the book, is a self-esteem questionnaire that gets them to measure where they are in terms of their self-esteem, so they can actually get a good picture of if this is something that they may benefit from working on.
And one of my favourite things is journaling. Do you think that can help with low self-esteem?
Yes, I certainly do. So in the book, there are lots of exercises, like I've said, and there are journal prompts in there to help people explore this subject at more depth. Some really lovely prompts to help people start thinking about different areas of their life. And journaling is a really lovely tool, I think, to help people with different struggles. And I often recommend that to my clients in therapy for different reasons. So yes, 100%.
And I believe there's also a quiz on your website that you can take to see how you're actually doing.
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's a quiz on there. And that there's a couple of quizzes on there. One is, how ready are you for change? So you can take that quiz to see, are you ready to start making changes in your life and to your self-esteem? And also the self-esteem questionnaire as well. If you sign up to my, if you go visit my website, there's a resources page. If you sign up there, then you'll be sent the link to the self-esteem questionnaire.
Do you want to give your website out, Natasha?
Yeah, that'd be great. It's Natasha Page, MSc.com.
Excellent. And I will tell our listeners that we are selling the book right now in our virtual bookshop on our website, TRE.radio. It's called Believe What You're Made For, 7 Steps to Break Free from Low...
Sorry, just to correct you there, sorry. It's called Believe You're Made For More.
Oh, apologise. Believe you're made for more. 7 steps to break free from low self-esteem, remember your worth and claim your quiet confidence. And it's by Natasha Page, who we're chatting to now. Natasha, thank you so much for your time. Really interesting, and I'm sure it would have helped some of our listeners.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I've really enjoyed being on the show, and I hope people benefit from reading the book.
I'm sure they will. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.